Hi. It's Tuesday, March 29th. It's 11 a.m. local time in New York. My name is Lorelei Rue. Thanks for joining in on the IBM Developer channel on Twitch. Today, we're in part two of a three-part mini-series that is focused on the VMware Solutions shared offering that is available for consumption today on IBM Cloud. If you missed our first part, which was broadcast yesterday, fear not. What we did yesterday is basically go over what VMware Shared Solutions is, which is basically a managed VMware environment that leverages VMware vCloud Director as its underlying engine. And that all runs through automation on top of IBM Cloud infrastructure. And that presents customers the ability to quickly consume VMware resources on IBM Cloud within their own construct environment, which is referred to as a virtual data center. So we went through all the steps necessary, which was probably about 4 or 5 questions, real simple. And we got that deployed, and we spent a little bit of time with that. Today, what we're going to be doing is focusing on, we have our environment set up. Now we're going to be looking at adding some of the add-on services that are available. So we'll be looking at Veeam and Zerto, and those will be leveraging for purposes of disaster recovery, backup, replication, and also migration activities to and fro different data centers and cloud locations. We're also going to spend, so we're going to kick off the installs on those. Okay, so we'll walk through the portal of how easy that is and kick those off. So we have our third part that's coming up this Thursday, and we'll go and kind of deep dive into actual using Veeam and Zerto to protect the virtual machines that we're going to start creating today, etc. Also today, we're going to be talking briefly about operating VMware Solutions shared within the environment, right? So if you're familiar with like a VMware administrator perspective or paradigm, how to manipulate virtual machines, how to create, destroy, etc., how to attach the networks that we've created within the environment to your virtual machines. And we'll talk about that, and we'll get kind of hands-on keyboard, and we'll bring the screen up so we can all just kind of go around. If you have any questions during any of this time, feel free to pop them in the chat, and then we'll address those as they come up. Without further ado, let me bring in the rest of the guests today that I have joining in with me. I have JJ Ashkar, who's a developer advocate. Hello, JJ. JJ is going to be our hands on keyboard and screen, and he's also doing the the Twitch stream work. So his hands are super full, and he's also monitoring the chat and doing all kinds of stuff. So thanks, JJ. Also introducing to you, continuing from yesterday, Brian Buckland. He's CTO of Infrastructure as a Solutions in the IBM Cloud construct. Welcome back, Brian.
Thank you. Morning, everybody.
And last but certainly not least, we have Sam Cooper, who's the manager of the engineering team that's responsible for entire VMware Solutions shared on IBM Cloud. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Okay. All right. So yesterday we got our environment deployed, VMware shared. It was surprisingly just a few questions, right? How much RAM, how much memory, how much storage? Do you want to have a pay-as-you-go type of model where you're only charged with what's consumed and powered on? Or do you want to go with a reserved model for more critical workloads that you want to ensure that those resources are available? So we talked about that. What I'd like to do this morning is kind of pick up where we left off yesterday. We did discuss private networking endpoints, and the purposes of that would be for if a customer only wanted private connection into their virtual data center construct, that would allow them the entry point through either like a direct link or an MPLS provider back to their on-premise environment. So that being said, now we have our environment stamped out. We want to start looking at the protection that we can use in the add-on services, and maybe perhaps we have some workloads on-prem that we want to consider for migration or replication purposes. JJ, if you would please, could you bring up the screen of the portal? So if we're walking through, and Sam and Brian, I'm probably going to need your help from a navigation perspective. The actual, if we go to our instance as it's deployed and stamped out on the ordering portal, if you will, or the IBM Cloud web page,
this one?
We should see our ability to add on services. So this is our actual deployed instance. And then we have below here, we have our recommended services. So what I'd like to do, just briefly, Sam, can we just walk through these again for those that may have missed yesterday, just to kind of talk about what we're doing. And what we'll do is we'll actually walk the process of installing these components, and we'll let those run using in the background. So that way when we return on Thursday, we can actually start using these things. So if we start with the Veeam Availability Suite. Yeah, thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
Oh, no sweat. Yeah, like we did mention yesterday, but just to get us going, Veeam is really here to offer a customer backup solution. It does integrate with Director, and once you're using Veeam, you'll have this construct called the Veeam Self-Service Portal. So really, it's just a UI that lets you get in there. You can view the virtual machines that you have within Director, and you can set up backup jobs per VM. You can set the retention policy on those jobs. So, in general, Veeam is the backup solution that we're recommending here and that we've integrated with. So the other Veeam item here you see just below is Veeam Cloud Connect Replication. So this really goes after the both the migration into the environment use case, and then also with the DR considerations. If you need an environment that is constantly up to date, with like a target environment that is your production, let's say, and then you could use Veeam Cloud Connect to guarantee that your vCloud Director instance is staying in sync there. And then the last item here is Zerto, which is actually similar in Veeam Cloud Connect in terms of the problem it's trying to solve. So Zerto is really an industry standard for replication, and so we also have that available within here in Director.
Great. So let's go through and actually, so if we go to Veeam, so is there a particular order we should do these if we wanted all three, or does it matter? Or can we just start the install process on all three?
We can just start all three.
Okay.
So actually, these services are pre-installed today. So when you're going into the VMware Shared, when you create your org VDC or your instance, then it is actually all these services are pre-installed or pre-configured to work in the multi-tenant environment. So all customers have this capability, and then as you use the products, that's when you'll start getting the charge. So it's very much like a pay-go model.
Oh, okay. So well, let's. So how would we? So by default, it's already there. The Veeam Availability Suite.
Yeah.
So
if you click on that Veeam backup, that would actually load up the public URL, and you would enter in your admin credentials. So it'd be admin and the credentials that were emailed to you.
Hang on, I don't remember unless it's that same admin password for vCloud Director.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, it should be the same.
Huzzah!
Wow. Okay.
Cool.
So we can actually create some VMs and then actually start a couple jobs and then kick those off and then check those on Thursday. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. So if we go back to that IBM Cloud for VMware Solutions page now, and what about Cloud Connect? So Cloud Connect is that's deploying some. Is that something that we have to deploy on-prem in order to connect to migrate workloads? Is that how that works, Sam, Brian? Are you guys familiar with that?
I believe it's on-prem or a different cloud account. This would also work.
Just any cloud. Let's. Can we take a look?
Sure.
Let's explore. I'm gonna guess this is admin in the same credentials, right?
I think you've got to put your what do you call it? So back in the Cloud Portal page on the Veeam Cloud Connect in that script in the text for it, there's that's your unique identifier for your org VDC. So that needs to go in front of admin credentials.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Read the documentation, JJ. Read the documentation. Oh, boo.
Well, we're getting an authentic experience because we would just fly through this and be like, oh yeah, we got to go look at this and read this. Oh yeah, here it is.
Huzzah.
Ta-da. Okay, so how does this...
So my understanding of Veeam Cloud Connect is you deploy something on-premise, like you have your on-premise Veeam backup and recovery server, and we can connect that up to the Veeam Cloud Connect, and then you can replicate your backups from your on-premise location into the cloud location. Okay. So as we mentioned, it's a migration tool. So you can, as your backups are on-premise, you can replicate them into the cloud, and then, at a certain point in time, you might switch over and say, we're going to run the whole environment in the cloud. And then, it's an easy way to migrate things across.
And
Can I ask a pivoting question, because it just kind of dawned on me, and because it's still early in the morning, not fully thinking. Going back real quick to the availability suite here, the Veeam availability suite, because we can talk to other instances of vCloud Director, could we do the same thing that we were thinking about doing with the Multizone with this Veeam software to back it up back and forth between two different instances of vCloud Director? Does that make sense? So basically emulating what vSAN would do across.
I believe
or is
so.
That just
it's called cloud to cloud migration. So normally, I believe customers usually, we have Dallas and Frankfurt, so they normally set it up to replicate between those two sites. And we do have future requests to expand our footprint so that we could do in-country DR scenarios, so like Dallas to Washington, or even Frankfurt to London. But yeah, I believe it is capable of doing the cloud to cloud migration. So, if you've got two org VDCs, I'm just trying to work out, it would have to be two separate instances and then they connect together.
But the disadvantage of doing this one, instead of using the Multizone one with the vSAN, is that you're doing basically hot to cold back or cloud instead of a hot to hot using the
using the stretch vSAN and the high available network. So the Multizone gives you that seamless experience and the high availability to migrate, or not even migrate, but the application will automatically switch between, because the stretch vSAN is actually replicating your virtual machines underneath the covers. It's got multiple copies.
Yeah.
Versus, like you said, Veeam is that hot cold scenario.
Yep. Right. It's actually two different paradigms, right? If you're looking at a stretch vSAN, it's just for high availability. Disaster recovery or backup replication is a separate thing where you would use so probably recommended, most enterprises would choose Zerto for disaster recovery because of it's a traditional DR plan DR event, and it has asynchronous replication that actually does go from source to target and does that replication from two different environments, right?
Got it.
Whereas a stretched vSAN, really in reality, it's spread across two physical locations, but it looks like the same logical environment.
Got it. Yes. Okay. Cool. Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. No. Cool. Because that's often one of those things that folks have a tendency to trip over, right? Because because we're providing all different levels of resiliency, right?
Yep.
So whether that's high availability, meaning okay, at a certain level, is this host up? Is this host down? Right? Or then it's like, oh, at storage, okay, am I replicating across multiple sites? Does that still look like the same logical thing? On and on and on, and it can get pretty complex. But yeah, if you were to migrate using Veeam Cloud Connect, you would point source to, even if it's a cloud environment or a VDC somewhere else, and then to another VDC, you could do that migration and just use the Veeam engine as the replication, to get the job over there, basically. But from a traditional enterprise DR, Zerto has been like I think Sam, you said, is basically best of breed from a VMware perspective. Now Veeam has increased its ability. Typically, Veeam was looked at as just a backup and replication software, right? But they've kind of expanded into the disaster recovery space. But time will tell, I guess, as things move on. But that's why we offer them both, right? Because of different use case scenarios, and that's why also on top of either of those, even if you have single site, even if you're multi-site stretch vSAN, it's the same capabilities. But from a tenant perspective, it just sees it as one.
Got it. Cool.
Was I right, Sam?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm nodding vigorously. But
okay,
yes.
good. Good. So, all right. So let's talk about Zerto for a sec. Let's go back to there, and let's see. This is installed as well? No, this is not installed because Zerto has a ZVM that deploys alongside that actually helps do the VADP calls to the VMs, right? So we could probably order one of these, and then that would probably be ready for us to look at on Thursday.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. What's it say? Let's see. Yay.
Let's create an organization network.
Let's do that.
Uh-oh. Never a good sign when a diagram shows up.
So do we have to plug this up? Do we have to connect up through our up leg on our switch or on our service edge or our edge gateway rather? Is that what this is talking about?
From the edge section, virtual zone distributed to interface type, repeat the procedure in organization network, given a different name such as app and different CIDR. Okay, so let's I'm gonna go ahead and split this window here.
While you do that, I'm gonna go look at this thing here. Ordering a Zerto Cloud connector.
Go in here.
You got to select an organization network and IP address for the new virtual machine.
Yep.
So you're gonna, so it's going to install something within inside your VDC instance. So we might need to go create a network.
Yeah.
So I think if we click on that network tab.
Yeah, that's
network
what it's
tab.
Yep,
network.
Exactly. Yep.
And then there should be a new on the left hand side.
So the IP address.
So
Data center.
I think you're selecting your org VDC, and then we want a routed network. So routed networks means it's got physical connectivity outside versus isolated. I think is it's isolated to communication between virtual machines. So it's not going to be routed outside the virtual machines you connect to it. Okay. So this is the edge.
Work the edge to create a virtual. Yep, that's correct. I'm assuming we don't touch these, even though it doesn't say that. Give it a name of app because I'm lazy. The gateway CIDR should be 192.168.101.1/24. Seems reasonable.
Yep. The usual, yep. And that can be anything you want. So you got the full access to the 10 dot range in there as well.
68.1.2.
Well, you would be. Is that /24? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, 101. Oh, look, that it's 101 here, but it's 11 here. Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's supposed to be.
That should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had if you had a different subnet, you would have to put your IP space within that subnet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those silly RFCs that we have to follow. 1491, 1497.
Which was that the avian one? 1918 is this one, but the avian one is the one I wanted. I've never been able to memorize, but that one's great. So yeah, that's good enough for me. Finish.
Finish. Yep.
Okay.
And then
Sam,
should that
1149 is the avian one, by the way.
So Sam, when we go back to the cloud portal, how long would
yeah.
that take to refresh?
What we're seeing here now, it should be quite snappy.
Quite snappy. Okay, cool.
All right. So once this deploys,
Thinking about it.
what was the pool? How big was the pool that you picked?
Just one. I just want to add
One
IP.
One to what?
1 to 1. 1 to, or so 2. So 2. Just 2. Just one. Yeah. Just one IP because I screwed that up.
Not seeming snappy.
This is not.
Maybe just refresh the page.
HTML5 decided to take a coffee break. Yep.
Well, this isn't something that ever comes up, so I would guess that maybe our parameters are
Wrong.
Yeah, something might be off.
Want to try to create a new one?
Can you okay?
Just let it keep going. See if it finishes in the background.
Just let it die.
.168.102. 24. That work? Wait, the gateway needs to be an actual IP, right? Yeah.
I was going to say gateway side normally needs to be .1.
Yep. My bad. It just shows that you're actually watching me type, right? Like that's what's going on here.
Yep.
Can't see it.
Maybe create this to be like, .2 to .10.
Yeah.
I can't type. Ah.
The pressure.
192.
Oh, good call. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's still trying to create the other one. It's like, no, I'm only doing one at a time. I am serial here. Parallelism doesn't exist in my space. My network space, maybe. Yeah, no.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd try to cancel this and go back and cancel that other one. Hit the radio by the app thing up on the top left and see if you can kill it. The radio button selector.
Nope.
Ah,
Still going.
not cool.
We locked it up. We made it angry.
Live demos, always entertaining.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So actually, we have a handful of people watching now. If you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate to throw those in the chat. We are in the process of trying to create a network that seems to have gone, I believe the term is pear-shaped. But as soon as that clears, we can pick back up. But if you have any questions about VMware Solutions shared on IBM Cloud, or just if you're Cloud Director, I'm assuming, we've got some really good experts here that would love to answer them. So throw them in chat, please. I know you're watching. Maybe. That's still going.
my buffering still.
Oh, you're good.
So maybe while that's rolling, yeah, Brian, if you you have did you want to bring up? Let's actually kind of take a look through the actual interface where the VMs are at, and we can start like kind of showing off the virtual data center itself and maybe some of the construct of the VMs. Maybe we can build up a couple VMs to get some, so we can have some test backup jobs that we can, maybe fire off 4 or 5 VMs that we can put into a Veeam job.
So let's
see.
Go to the library
Actually,
tab. Let's highlight our catalog. So on
sorry,
the
guys,
top menu bar. Yep.
I was just gonna. Sorry to interrupt. I unfortunately have to step away. But I'm gonna ping someone just about that the network task that's just kind of spinning out there. See if I can get some more information. But thanks, you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, Sam. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. There we go.
Cool. So yeah, we're just going to highlight here that we do have various different templates available in the IBM catalog. So we have our CentOS images, we have our Red Hat images, we've got some Red Hat Core OS images as well. So a lot of people do run open, self-managed OpenShift on top of this platform to get it up and running. Like I've seen customers do automation out that way.
Nice.
And then we have our various different Windows templates. So 2022 being the latest and greatest, that's available as well. So
I didn't even know 2022 existed. That's awesome. I didn't know.
So the other now, yeah. So these are all like right off the bat right? As soon as the instance is deployed, these are available, but the customer can also go in and create their own VApp templates, right? We can kind of walk through that maybe, and maybe not actually do it, but show. So basically here you would be uploading an OVF file, right? Or you would be pointing to an ISO or an OVA, OVF, and then you would deploy that just in the same way that you would on-prem in your local VMware, create new virtual machine, point to ISO or import OVA. It works great. So you could take an actual, so even without, even if like say for instance, you had a smaller environment that you're using for test development, and you had a subset of 10 to 12 virtual machines or something like that, and you wanted to put them off into a cloud environment that's segregated and separate from everything else, you can put those out there, and without even paying to have like a real migration tool like Veeam or something like that, you could actually shut down those VMs, export those to OVAs, copy them up the wire, and then import those, and they would be an exact replica of what you had on-prem. The only caveat, because of the savings of cost, you're adding more time because of the actual file copy, and then the downtime that it takes because those have to be done while the virtual machine is shut off. So it's a poor man's way of getting things migrated, with the caveat of having a little bit extra time added, right? But saving on cost.
So I threw ISO up in here just to see if it work, and no, it doesn't let me keep going.
So if you click the up arrow, does that? Oh no, it's got the
That's
ISO there.
yeah, it's only 877 megs, so it's not small or it's not big by any standard, and it's just sitting here.
It's probably uploading.
Okay.
It's gonna.
By the way, go ahead.
No, this takes, the way that this works, it like sucks it up into the interface or something like that through the browser, and then it like dumps it over across for some reason. It's part of the HTML5 cutover that they did. So it's kind of funky. What typically is the best way is get the file copied up there somewhere, and then point to it locally from your environment. That's
so create a Bastion node or something like
yeah,
that.
create a little Bastion host or a little FTP, SFTP server, or even SSH, just like a little Linux box with SSH that you can just use SCP to get the files up there. And then you can mount those, and it'll just work. It'll save so much headache of the administrator.
So I was going to say the other way, like if you click on the left-hand side, there's the media and other. I think within there you can add in the different ISOs that way. So select the catalog. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, this is a public
catalog. You've got to create your own
catalog.
Yeah, you've got to create your own catalog. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe if we go down, we can go down then and do that. So on the left-hand side, underneath media, there's catalog. We're not going to subscribe to anything. So now if you go back to media.
It's still creating. Oh, there we go.
So then if you got your ISO now to upload, then you got the OK button.
There we go. That feels a little bit better.
Yeah.
So then, yeah. And as Lorelei said, this will upload in the background, and it takes its time. It's replicating over the internet. So,
but it looks like we got our network back up. Do you want to scoot back over to the network portion?
Yeah, let's go take a peek at it while that's running. The other cool thing right before the catalog. So now once that ISO is there, now anytime that you deploy from that catalog, you can use that ISO. You don't have to re-upload it.
Exactly.
So here we go. Here's our network. One IP.
One IP.
Yep. I believe you can come in here, and if you wanted to increase that IP range, you can edit that as well. So
Modify. What?
Yeah, the good times.
Modify. There we go.
Yep.
Be on the safe side here.
Cool.
there we go.
There we go.
So,
then this should so if we go back to the cloud portal, like
Now
the
we can
cloudibm.com.
go back to our Zerto.
Is it this one?
Yeah, click on that one. I'm not sure if we might need to do a refresh or not. So if we go down,
Huzzah.
there you go. You can see your network.
Hey.
Computers are actually doing what I'm asking them to do. This is amazing. All right. Order.
Yep, let's order that.
It was successful. Creating. So should we see it now in our thing, or is it hidden from us inside of this interface?
It'll be hidden from in it'll deploy it'll have a ZVM that it deploys, right? So it'll be a VM in here, but the actual interface will be through that portal again to click, and probably once it's provisioned, it'll have like an actual Zerto portal right there up on the top right.
Perfect.
Yep.
So we just got to keep an eye on this guy.
Yeah. So once that's done, yeah, we should be able to get in there. Yeah, because Zerto has a separate virtual machine that it uses to do its virtual VADP, or its VMware for data protection calls so it gets snapshots the VM, sucks that in, releases the snapshot, and then synchronizes, then sends that data across to
Nice.
to wherever it is. Yeah, and then it releases that snapshot.
Awesome. You're talking to a human that used to do DRBD, which I hear echoes of DRBD and that workflow, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. So while that's going,
So
we've got an ISO uploaded.
while that's going,
we've
got that one. So if we go back to, let's go to the data center on the top menu bar. Click into our
center?
org data center.
Data.
Data.
There you go.
Yeah, accent.
Yeah, I love it.
I was just going to say, let's drill down a little bit on that CentOS testing virtual machine that we spun up yesterday. So I believe we should be able to, so you got the web console, so, like you did in the vCenter, you can launch into like a console mode to sort of, be able to get in there and provide those details. So I'm trying to remember where the password was. Give me
I think I deployed the password.
Did it ask us?
So
I don't remember.
No, I don't remember them asking us. That's what I was trying to.
That's a great question. Can't really get very far with a machine.
Auto generate passwords enabled. All right, I'll have a look up the documentation in the background and see what we can. But I was going to say, within this, I believe, now that we created our net, so if we go to the NICs on that one, because yesterday I don't think we had the network to create it to. So we can edit this now, like we've got that network. I think on the network drop down, we can now connect it to that same app, and it'll use, it can do DHCP to allocate out from that range. So, we increased it from the one IP address to multiple IP addresses.
That's brilliant.
And that should go through.
Yeah, one of my biggest problems last time I was in this space was DHCP, because I would always have to spin up my own like little like router box or whatever that did DHCP, but
Mhm.
it's built inside now. That saves me hours of setup time. That's wonderful. It's wonderful. That's what happens when you're self-taught engineer. You don't realize that stuff is built in.
You do all the hard stuff first and then come back.
Exactly. So if I go back to the general, did it actually give me the IP? No, but it's got, whatchamacallit, it's got VMware tools on there. It should tell me, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I believe it's been built with VMware tools. I'm just still trying to find.
Why is numlock on? Oh no. Of course, have to be difficult.
The remote console. Try that one.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that.
Yeah, it works a lot better. It's like a thin app that actually the keyboard connect keys work better.
Okay. I'll go ahead and download this in background.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Oh, okay.
It's a small little agent type thing.
Right.
But
So sorry, I just found out how to do the password.
okay.
So if you go to the guest
Can't run this
properties.
on a Mac though.
No.
You sure can't.
Properties.
All right. So if you go to guest properties and then edit that guy. Is it that one? Right. Guest OS Guest OS customization. Sorry, the one above. And if you edit that one, you'll see there the passwords there, and that will be the dynamically generated password based on the template, and then.
Okay. It's actually really
So
that right there is we should make a little video out of just that conversation right there, because that's easily something some people we should upload to YouTube, being like how to find the automated password.
How to find your password.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea at all. I'm gonna do that.
It's a great TikTok video.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Okay.
So
yeah.
my recommendation here is that we just kick off another 4 or 5 VMs, let them build real quick, and that way we can create a job or two. Yeah, create a job and look at it and manipulate them a little bit. We're almost about time, but we can at least get that going. And that's really kind of most of what I wanted to cover, unless there's any other questions that are coming in. So what kind of apps are we building here?
So web app 1.
Okay,
so
cool.
Production machine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds serious.
It does, doesn't it?
So then,
app DHCP. But I can't do multiple. I can only do one at a time, can't I? Yeah. That's annoying. Okay. Maybe. Oh, there we go. We'll create a web app 2. Web app 2. And you're going to be sent to us 8 also.
DB1 and a DB2. DB2 2. DB1 2. DB2 2. DB2 2.
222.
Web DB1. And because we're glutton for punishment, I'm going to make it a Windows 2019 box, because for some reason we're running Windows Server.
Yeah, we want quorum disk and everything too, probably, huh?
Yeah, there you go. we'll do WebDB2. And to be the most practical story of our backup, our follower will be 2016 for some reason. I like it. I'm just a glutton for punishment. I really am. Ooh, what did it not like? What did I miss? Oh, there we go. We've all seen that enterprise app where we have two front ends. They're running PHP and Nginx for some reason. Then there's SQL Server somewhere in there, and then for whatever reason, the follower from the leader is 2 versions behind, and you're like, why am I in this hell?
Yeah. And it's and yet it just recurs. You find yourself there from time to time again, asking the same question.
Exactly.
How did I get here?
How did I get here? What did I do wrong in my previous life to have this world?
This is not my beautiful house.
Exactly. Awesome. Cool. Well, do you want to just kind of wrap up now? Because I mean, this is a great place for us to pick up tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think so. We got our Veeam deployed, or well, actually it is deployed by default, but we went in there and took a look at both Cloud Connect and the availability suite. We got Zerto now installing, now that we've created our network for use, and we've kicked off a little mock application stack that will begin to protect, and we'll demonstrate that on Thursday. And I think we're in really good shape. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and discussing this.
Awesome.
Till next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.